SpaceX was founded in 2002 by Elon Musk and Mark Zubin or Rubin, and it IPO'd last week at a $1 trillion, $1.7 trillion valuation, and now it's worth over $2 trillion, and it hasn't made a single penny in profit. Now, let's talk about it. So, SpaceX, as I said before, was founded by Elon Musk, and it's been a long time coming that Elon has been wanting to put this company publicly. He spoke about SpaceX for a while. It was something that he was working on, and even left some of his responsibilities at Tesla to go and manage SpaceX. And I think he's successfully been able to manage both companies amongst other ones. And before SpaceX IPO'd, it actually merged with Twitter or XAI. I forget whatever it's called now. I think the AI and Twitter are kind of one together. So in a way, he kind of made it a package deal, inflated the value of it, and now it's here. So what happens next? And how is a company that has been losing money, has not made a penny in profit, is not profitable, going to just all of a sudden be worth over $2 trillion? So to start off, it's something called a moat. So with SpaceX, because it's space, it's something that out of maybe thousands of companies, thousands of startups, only maybe at most like one or two in a year might be space related, and of those one or two, probably most of them fail. So in a way, they don't have any competitors. There's Blue Origin by Amazon, by Jeff Bezos, but even that is not really anywhere near where SpaceX is. And SpaceX is super successful for effectively what is going to be a next gen technology. Something like space tourism, that's next gen. Something like reusable rockets, the Starlink, all those satellites are very much going to be some future technology that will be extremely beneficial to everyone. In that case, SpaceX is very valuable. There's no doubt about it. It's just a question of, is this value on it reasonable? And I think it goes a bit deeper. I think there is some mathematical reasoning to it and some very clever structuring that Elon Musk has done to ensure that this company has made him a trillionaire. Yeah, and he is right now. He's about 1.1 trillion. So congratulations to Musk. He's over $1 trillion. So one thing that Musk did that's very, very important, and something that a lot of the people who thought about shorting SpaceX, because they saw this overvalued corporation, they say it's 1 trillion, almost $2 trillion, it's not worth it. We're gonna bet against it. We're gonna short it. And a lot of those guys, they lost their money because it shot up 19% in the first day. And the reason it did that was quite simple. They only have about 4 to 5% of its shares publicly traded. So out of every share of SpaceX, only about 100 billion of that $2 trillion is being publicly traded. And at IPO, it was overbooked by around 4 times, meaning that there was $400 billion worth of buyers, but only $100 billion worth of sellers. Just based on that, it would be mathematically impossible for it to go down. Because if you don't want to buy it, someone else will, and there is going to be always more buyers than sellers. That pushes the price up by a lot. And on top of that, because most of it is owned by insiders, a lot of those insiders, they have a release schedule. And the way that this release schedule is designed is really, really smart. What SpaceX wants to do before having insiders sell their shares is they want it to be scheduled. They want it to be in a way that the releases are done in where it doesn't crash the price. It's not everyone selling all at once to liquidate their shares to get their money and leave. They want to avoid that because they believe that that's what would happen if they just allowed it to kind of be. If one investor went off the rails and said, "Hey, I made $300 million from SpaceX. I was in there for 5 years. I want out now," and they sell. That might cause like a domino effect where one person sells, the other one sells, and now all of a sudden that float percentage goes from being 4 to 5% to maybe 20 to 30, 40% float. And now all of a sudden it can, maybe there's too many shares, too many buyers now, or too many sellers, not enough buyers, and it crashes. So to avoid this, what Elon is doing is making sure that it's in a structured release pattern, meaning that it will be released in a way where it doesn't risk crashing the price from there being too much float. Because what they're going to do is they're going to sell a lot of these shares to retirement accounts. and to just everyone. It is going to be a part of indexes that everyone is a part of. You can't avoid SpaceX. If you own any index, if you own any number of indexes, SpaceX could end up being in them. It could end up being in SPY potentially. SPY so far has refused, but it is currently, I believe, not even going to be. It is currently in the total market index, the VTI. Basically, if you have a total market index fund, which a lot of people's 401ks, retirement accounts, pension funds, they're all invested in very heavily, you own part of SpaceX because it's a market weighted cap index, meaning that the bigger the company, the more it allocates. It's $100, and you would split that up amongst every single company in the stock market. But the ones that are more valuable, they're going to have more of it. So, for example, Google might be 50 cents, Microsoft might be 80 cents, SpaceX may be 50 cents of that $100, and there's like thousands of stock in it. So just to give you guys an idea of how that would work. So what they're going to want to do is they're going to get their insiders. Hold on, guys. Hold on. What we're doing is we're trying to get like all this float. We're trying to get you guys. We're releasing a little bit to general public. We're seeing how it looks. We're pushing up the evaluation. That's worth over $2 trillion. But what we're also doing is we're going to give it to these retirees. We're going to take it, slowly let it trickle into these retirement accounts by the billions. And once so much of it has been offloaded that you have these sedentary buyers, meaning that they're not going to sell. If you have a 401k, you probably don't even manage it yourself. So they're more than likely not even going to sell their VTI. It's something that you really don't want to sell. And if you have especially if you have a manager, like you have a financial advisor, they're not going to want to, sell your account to avoid SpaceX. So what they're able to do is just lock in buyers at a certain price point. Now it's unclear what that price point will be. It's unclear when these transfers will occur. It could be some saying 2 weeks, some saying it could be a month or even a few months before some of these pension funds agree to buy SpaceX, or they agree to let them into their index funds that they're using. But the question isn't if, it's a question of just when. And when that happens, it locks in a certain price point for SpaceX. So that allows investors now to all of a sudden exit their positions without crashing the price, because you just replaced buyers with another set of buyers. So they're able to sell to those buyers, and those buyers are significantly less likely to sell SpaceX, locking in a certain portion of the price. That being said, it's also terrifying as hell. This is, I believe, the only trillion-dollar company, multi-trillion-dollar company now that is negative profit. Like, they make revenue, of course. Revenue is never negative, but it's their profits that are a problem. This is a company I believe lost almost $20 billion, which is insane to think about. A company being worth 2 trillion, over 2 trillion now, and it lost $20 billion or so, and I don't think it's been ever profitable, ever. Now, this isn't to say it can't be profitable in the future. It's very possible that their reusable rockets, their not the Neuralink, sorry, that's different. Starlink. Their Starlink becomes super profitable, and now all of a sudden they're printing cash, and Twitter's AI, Grok does something. Grok turns into super Grok, and now it's worth trillions of dollars. And SpaceX is really undervalued. And next thing you know, they're gonna put up $10 trillion in revenue and 2 trillion in profit. But it's just so unlikely. I think this just encapsulates what makes Elon Musk such a good businessman, and what makes him so rich is that he is able to take a company losing $20 billion, but because it's in this really cool industry that has almost no competitors, that he claims has a total addressable market of like $28 trillion. I don't know how he got to that number. And to tell everyone, hey, put this in millions of Americans' retirement accounts, investment accounts, push these into these indexes that are not only America too, it's globally invested money in there that has billions and billions of dollars into it, probably trillions across all of these indexes. So they're all exposed to SpaceX, and we're just gonna take it from there, and it's only gonna go up, and God knows how this ends. And I want to say there might be a happy ending, but it is so unlikely, and this is so dangerous to do this. This is a company that is losing money. This is a company where it's not clear when they're going to make a profit. Like, you don't know what their competition looks like in 5 to 10 years. Probably not that strong, but I imagine any competitor that can get up to SpaceX's level might be a threat potentially to their evaluation, because doesn't have to be like 50 competitors. All it takes is one or two really good competitors. Now all of a sudden that $2 trillion valuation is looking overvalued, because there's another competitor that might even be good at doing one thing better than SpaceX that completely might hamper SpaceX's value. So it is a fascinating company, but it is also a very dangerous company, because what the danger is with SpaceX is, let's say I'm a retiree or I have some investment account and I buy SpaceX. I want to buy it. It goes up. Maybe it's worth $3 trillion in the future. I'm like, great, I love it. And all of a sudden, that float goes from like 5% to, say, over time it went up to 20 or 30% float, meaning that there are now too many shares publicly traded, too many sellers, not enough buyers. So it can crash, and all of a sudden SpaceX posts negative revenue again. But this time it's not in this gridlock where the insiders aren't selling and there's so many buyers that it just forces the price to go up. There's too much buying pressure, not enough selling pressure, so that the price has to go up. That gridlock breaks. Those insiders mostly sell, or they sell big portions of their position, and now it is free to fail. And let's say it goes from, like, in the future it's worth 3 trillion. It goes from being worth 3 trillion to 2 trillion, or even one and a half. Like, it could drop 50%. And I see that now, I panic, and it's exposed to basically a bunch of indexes that millions of people are in. And imagine their index drops by even 2 to 3%. It doesn't have to even be a big drop, but people start panicking. All it takes is some people to panic and they start selling now. Now, all of a sudden, indexes start going down in value. Now, what was initially like a 2 to 3% drop becomes a 4, 5, 7% drop. Now, all of a sudden, everyone's panicking, and it kind of, maybe it won't crash the market entirely, but it could definitely bring the market down by a lot. Imagine it. This might be the thing that pops the AI bubble. It just, people realizing that these companies are not profitable. SpaceX is not profitable. It's in everyone's account, and while there's insiders, while there's way too much buying pressure, not enough selling pressure, it goes up. The second those changes, the second the company has to stand on its own and just go off of its financials, not off these like mythical evaluations on these TAMs that are just based in God knows what. Like, I don't know how they got to $28 trillion. It will crash, bring the market down, and potentially pop a lot of these other evaluations. Because SpaceX is not the end. There's going to be an Anthropic IPO, and I almost guarantee you there's going to be an OpenAI IPO as well. They need more money, and all that's going to happen is more and more and more money is just going to be allocated to these businesses that are losing money until there's not enough money to go around, and these companies can't stand on their own, and it all just comes crashing down like a house of cards. You just run out of cards. When you have enough cards, the house can keep building, but eventually you run out of those cards and there's just nothing left, and it just kind of just crashes. It just comes crumbling down. That's really the main danger, and this is why I think SpaceX doesn't have a happy ending. Like, I don't see how this has a happy ending. Of course, I could be wrong, and SpaceX could start transitioning to being very profitable. Maybe this year it's break even, and next year it poses a 20 billion or 30 billion dollar profit, and it just becomes another one of these super successful multi-trillion-dollar companies that has no issues, that can continue and has longevity, like a Microsoft or a Google. Both companies that went on for multiple decades, that are multi-trillion-dollar companies that are very successful, that post profits and have good financials and can stand on their own, that they don't have to rely on investor money to survive. But as of right now, without investor funding, SpaceX can't survive. Without there being 4 times as many buyers as sellers, it can't survive. It's evaluation. Without insiders being locked up, and 401ks and retirees, and got your investment account being forced to and subjugated to buy SpaceX, it can't survive at that evaluation. If it was to kind of just go into free float, like their float was from 4 to 5%, went to like 30, 40, 50, 70%, it would probably crash by more than half. And that's what makes this company so weird and so dangerous, is it's so much artificial buying power, so much artificial buying pressure, that it doesn't allow the actual company's financials to stand on their own. And if this is successful, and this is so far successful for Elon Musk, he doesn't care about the financials. He just cares about making himself rich. And he is. And he was able to exit most of his position and keep, let's say that 1.1 trillion, he's able to keep most of it, even if he loses maybe, a couple 100 billion. Even if he goes down to under $1 trillion, he can pull away with 800 or 900 billion dollars and maintain that for the future. He's happy. He doesn't care if he dumps on basically retail investors. on everyone else. It doesn't bother him, and everyone will copy this. This is a blueprint. So do keep in mind, guys. This is not the end. SpaceX is a blueprint. It is a blueprint for how to extract value from everyone. How to extract value from banks. How to extract value from investors, retirees, VC funds, and as far as I know, SpaceX it could lose $300 billion, and it will still be a success for Elon because he walked away with his money and his investors, his early insiders, all those guys. They're probably sitting there pretty. He's probably made new billionaires. He's made plenty of new millionaires, probably thousands of new millionaires, and that's it. That's all matters. And if it negatively impacts everyone else and crashes the market potentially, that's okay because they got their piece. They got what they were after. And if everyone else has a negative outcome, does not matter because they got their own. So yeah, I think that's really the big danger with SpaceX, and I hope that I'm wrong with that prediction. But just I don't know, man. I really don't see how this ends well. They don't post profits. They don't know when they're going to be profitable. But that being said, it is all up to Elon Musk to be able to turn this around and say, hey, we're going to be profitable. Hey, that this isn't just some dump on everybody else and make money and screw everyone else over and crash the market. But until we see what it looks like in the next 3 to 5 years, we can't say for sure. I hope that's not what it turns into, but if it is, this will be one of the worst, if not the worst IPO ever. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe and stay tuned for more.